You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a tractor trailer in Lawrence County, Missouri overturns and causes traffic to be rerouted.
And how cold weather affects response times for first responders.
Plus, we still have an alert day for us today. Wind chill warning still in effect. Still some snow on area roadways. We're going to take a look at your cold forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Eastbound traffic on the interstate closed east of Lebanon in Laclede County when multiple semis were involved in a series of crashes around 2 Thursday afternoon. Up to 30 vehicles were involved. And in Lawrence County, Missouri, a tractor trailer overturned, blocking both eastbound lanes. Traffic was rerouted there for a time near exit 38. Well, KOAM's Shagun Bomadelli spoke to some local first responders about how the weather affects their response time.
This winter storm has been rough on several areas of the country, including the 4 states. And with the snow and extremely cold weather, visibility might be low for first responders.
Where we still respond to all of the calls that we do receive, but depending on the call, sometimes we will run with lights and sirens and sometimes we won't. If the outcome of the call we have to get there quickly, we will do the lights and sirens, but if we can still get to the scene without using them and it won't affect the outcome of the call, we'll go non-emergency as it's ruled.
Engineer Burrow says before attending to any call, all trucks must be prepped.
We also drain our pumps because so that our pumps won't freeze, and then we ensure that our spot on, which is basically snow chains, that they are functioning and operating properly, and then we also check the condition of our tires, and then we check all of our fluids, make sure that we're topped off on all of our fluids and our heaters and are working.
Due to the icy and wet roads, first responders say the weather conditions affect their response time.
It kind of depends on the different storms we get here, but today our response time's not been affected at all. We might drive a little bit slower to certain calls, but we still get there in a very reasonable amount of time.
If the road conditions are severe, it could affect the response time a little bit. Just be aware that when you do call 911 for an emergency, we are going to come, but the response instead of being will seem a little bit longer just due to the road conditions, but we will be on our way.
Reporting in Webb City, Shagun Bomadelli, KOAM News.
They also say it's a good time for all of us to check our own cars and make sure that they remain roadworthy. Well, due to the extreme cold, the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas is modifying its hours of operation this weekend. They'll still be open today, but only from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for all clinic locations. They'll close at noon on Saturday and will not reopen until Monday. Take a look at the image captured by police dash cam in Liberty, Missouri last night. A transformer exploded in a shower of sparks, plunging nearby buildings into darkness. Evergy Electric says more than 2,000 customers have been affected by power outages in the Kansas City area last night. That can be dangerous anytime, but if it leads to a loss of heat on a night like this, it could be life-threatening.
And we are still dealing with those dangerously cold temperatures and wind chills. Wind chill warnings, Kansas, Oklahoma through 1 o'clock today. And on the Missouri side, they'll run until 6. Right now in Joplin, we still have some snow-covered roads out there. 3 below feels like 22 below. West-northwest breeze at about 13 miles an hour. Across the region, very cold. 2 below Chetopa, 5 Iola, Fort Scott, 3 Pittsburgh, 2 Miami, 2 Neosho, 3 below in Carthage, and 4 in Lamar. With the wind, feels like 23 below in Iola, 20 Chanute, 17 Pittsburgh, Miami, 22 Neosho, Carthage, Lamar, and Nevada. KDOT still reporting some partially covered highways across most of southeast Kansas this morning, so if you're traveling, do be careful as you could run into some slick spots out there. And we're seeing the same thing on the Missouri side. A number of highways still listed as partially covered, so slick spots are out there. McDonald County still reporting some covered highways down to the south. All right, looking at our temperature today, 11 degrees. It is an alert day because wind chills through the afternoon with those gusty winds still 20 to 30 below zero. But we will be partly cloudy, so we'll see a little sunshine. Winds will let up a bit this evening. We drop back down to 1 under partly cloudy skies. And 7-day forecast heading into the Christmas weekend. 20 Christmas Eve, 25 Christmas Day, partly cloudy both days. Wintry mix possible Monday, 32, 44 Tuesday. Showers possible Wednesday, 53. And then by the time we get to Thursday, we're watching the possibility of some scattered thunderstorms in 62. Now let's go ahead and take a look at New Year's as well. We're looking at thunderstorms on Friday, 60 degrees, back into the 50s for New Year's Eve, and unfortunately some shower chances as well, but will be considerably warmer as you celebrate the new year.
I'm looking forward to that warm-up. Up next, if you have high blood pressure, you may want to consider cutting your coffee consumption.
And later, Fort Lauderdale, Florida commissioners were just having a meeting when 3 dominatrixes came in and dominated it. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
In Health Watch this morning, if you have high blood pressure or you may want to lower your coffee consumption. A new study found drinking 2 or more cups of coffee daily may double the risk of death from heart disease for people with severe hypertension compared to non-coffee drinkers. Researchers examined data collected from nearly 19,000 men and women in Japan, including lifestyle, diet, and medical history, to base their findings. The study also found that 1 cup of coffee a day and green tea consumption did not increase the risk of death related to cardiovascular disease at any blood pressure measurement. The findings are published online in the Journal of the American Heart Association. Researchers at a center of a prominent university are proposing small solutions for a big stress problem. Healthcare workers are facing burnout from dealing with COVID and flu cases, and were the focus of the study. Scientists at the Duke Center for Healthcare Safety and Quality say thinking positively or doing micro meditations for just a few minutes can improve long-term mental health. The thoughts can be simple, like remembering a time of awe. Dr. Brian Sexton, director of the center, says emotional exhaustion is linked to medication errors, delay of care, and communication breakdowns. While the study focused on healthcare workers, Sexton says thinking positively can also benefit any profession and anyone feeling burnt out. Researchers say they're developing a universal flu vaccine. It comes as this year's flu season hit earlier and harder than usual. Universal vaccine is designed to protect against all strains of the flu virus. Current vaccines protect against 4 strains, and the composition changes each year based on predictions about which strains are most likely to make people sick. There are 20 known influenza A and B strains, and researchers say they successfully immunized certain animals against all of them. Researchers say the vaccine needs further testing, but they hope to have it up to human standards next year. Scientists may have found a clue as to why 3 dolphins were stranded along the Scottish coast. Their research indicates their brains showed signs of Alzheimer's disease. The study was published in December's European Journal of Neuroscience. Using post-mortem brain examinations, the scientists found 3 aged dolphins showed brain changes or lesions like the ones associated with Alzheimer's disease in humans. Alzheimer's had been thought to only develop in humans. The study provides greater insight into neurological disease in other species. Well, a toddler in Ohio will be home for the holidays after spending most of his life in the hospital and in rehabilitation. He was born with a rare, life-threatening congenital heart defect. Christian Benavides has the family story.
Give me that string.
At almost 2 years old, DJ Blake finally gets to celebrate Christmas at home.
Oh, look at you.
I feel like it's our first Christmas as a family together. It's a lot more emotional.
DJ was born 3 months premature. Then doctors discovered he had a rare congenital heart defect, double outlet right ventricle. The heart's 2 major arteries are connected to the wrong chamber of the heart, preventing normal blood flow.
This is an actual replica of DJ's heart. I use these 3D printed hearts to allow proper visualization in order to execute the procedure.
Dr. Hani Najam at the Cleveland Clinic has pioneered what is called the ventricular switch procedure, basically swapping the function of the left ventricle with the right ventricle.
This produces a two-ventricle circulation to the patient as opposed to a uni or one ventricle circulation.
At 5 months old, DJ was the youngest patient to undergo the procedure.
I was terrified because I didn't have anybody to compare to my son. He would be the first.
It's been a long road to get home. DJ spent 484 days in the hospital and in rehabilitation.
Just to look at that smile, like to see how happy he is, it makes it all worth it.
I have my children under one roof for the holiday. It's like you get to the light, but the light keep getting farther away. We sitting in the light, and I'm sitting in there with my kids. I'm blessed.
And they can't wait to celebrate DJ's next big milestone, his second birthday next month. Christian Benavides, CBS News.
Cleveland Clinic says double outlet right ventricle, I cannot say this, happens in just 1 out of every 6,000 to 10,000 newborns.
We have got roads that are still snow covered across the area. We are going to keep an eye on that because if you're driving, you're going to need to be extra cautious out there with some of these slick spots. And as it's been going all morning, the lights on the north end of the diverging diamond on Range Line in Joplin are still in flash mode. And with the snow there, you need to do like this guy's doing. Give yourself plenty of time to stop. Well, unfortunately, there on live TV, he did not stop for the flashing red light, but make sure you do, and you give yourself plenty of time to do so until MoDOT gets out here and gets these lights reset. That's not good to do. You want to stop at these. All right. Might need to do a quick scrape on your car. There's not a lot of buildup out there, which is good despite how cold it got. In terms of snow totals across the area, we saw anywhere from 1 upwards of 5 inches of snow in some cases. So everybody got a little bit of something out of yesterday's storm system. Skywatch Storm Tracker is clear today, and we'll remain that way for a little while. But we do have wind chill warnings, Kansas and Oklahoma, that run through 1 o'clock today. And on the Missouri side, they run until 6. Right now in Joplin, it is still dangerously cold. 3 below, feels like 22 below with a west-northwest breeze at 13 miles an hour. Across the region, still dangerously cold temperatures. 2 below Miami, Parsons, Chautauqua, 3 Pittsburgh, 5 below in Iola, Fort Scott, 4 Nevada, Lamar, and 3 below in Carthage. And you factor in the wind, feels like 23 below in Iola. So again, dangerous out there. That's why today is another alert day for us with these wind chills. 15 Pittsburgh, 17 below in Miami, 22 Neosho, Carthage, Lamar, and Nevada. And as we mentioned, we still have some partially covered roadways across the area. From KDOT, this is what we're looking at in southeast Kansas. A number of the highways still listed as partially covered, meaning there are slick spots out there. So give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. And as we look on the Missouri side, same situation. Still in southwest Missouri, a number of partially covered roadways across the area, and even some covered roadways still reported down in McDonald County. For today, we're heading for a high of 11, but with the wind chill warnings and the gusty winds today, even with the partly cloudy skies, a little more sunshine, we're talking wind chills 20 to 30 degrees below zero out there. So layer up if you've got to be out. Don't go out if you don't have to. Winds die down this evening. We're going to drop back down to 1 for our overnight low under partly cloudy skies. And as we look to the week ahead, we've got some hope on the horizon here, but a little abnormal hope, mind you. 20 on Christmas Eve, 25 Christmas Day, partly cloudy both days, possibly a wintry mix on Monday, 32. 44 on Wednesday, partly cloudy. Some showers possible Wednesday, 53. Scattered thunderstorms possible next Thursday, and check that out, 62. And as we look to the New Year's weekend, we got more thunderstorms possible on Friday, 60 for a high. We're back down through the 50s on Saturday and Sunday next week for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. We're also watching the possibility of some showers, but it will be a little bit warmer. We'll be right back with more after this. With so many video games released this year, it isn't hard to have missed out on a fun gaming experience. Rick Damigella looks at some of the buried treasure video games of 2022.
2022 was packed with new video games, some of which may have been overlooked by players. Victor Lucas, creator of the Electric Playground, says these titles are worth checking out.
Well, there's definitely some awesome smaller size games or indie size video games. One of them that did get a lot of acclaim, which I think is worth the highlight, is Tunic, which was made by a single developer out of Canada. It's got a lot of great mystery and a lot of great visual style to it, beautiful music as well. And it's also a lot more challenging than it looks. It looks incredibly cute, but it's really tough.
In the year 2030, a new blood sport grips the globe.
One that I think a lot of people have stopped talking about. It got a little bit of attention when it launched, is a game called Rollerdrome. But I just thought it was a really fantastic stylistic concoction, and it was incredibly addictive because, you know, it combined the sort of Tony Hawk hooks with a really solid shooter mechanic. I was very impressed by Rollerdrome. Sifu is a fighting experience, and we've had lots of great fighting games in video game history, but this one plays a little bit different. It's almost like something out of a John Wick movie where your character has to go into nightclubs and down corridors and into boss lairs and get surrounded by all kinds of enemies. It's just so stylish and so fun and so tuned.
Come on.
Pull to the Lamb was a smaller indie title as well, where you're actually building a little cult. There, it's cutesy little characters, almost like something, you know, analogous to the Animal Crossing vibe. It's charming and clever and really cute in terms of its visual style. But there's a lot of depth in Cult of the Lamb as well. It's an incredibly addictive experience.
Leveling up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
We'll be back with more right after this. Now, to honor today's four-state hero, Lance Corporal Timothy Edwards. The Fredonia, Kansas native has served as a Marine since 2003. He was stationed in Fallujah, Iraq as a member of the Fox Company 3rd Platoon. To Lance Corporal Timothy Edwards, we thank you, today's four-state hero. For us today, we still have that alert day as we've got wind chill warnings for southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma through 1 o'clock today, and on the Missouri side they run through 6. So we're talking those dangerous wind chills 20 to 30 below across the area. We are 3 below in Joplin right now, feels like 22 below with a west-northwest breeze at 13 miles an hour. Still got some snow on some roadways out there as well. -2 in, well, I was pointing at Joplin again. Let's go back. -3 in Carthage, 3 below in Pittsburgh, 4 Iola, 1 below in Chanute, and 2 in Pittsburgh. And when you factor in the wind, feels like 24 below again in Iola, 20 Chanute, 17 Columbus, 15 Miami, 23 Carthage, and 24 in Lamar. KDOT, again, still reporting a number of partially covered highways across southeast Kansas. So if you're traveling this morning anywhere out there, give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. And we're looking at the same situation on the southwest Missouri side, as MoDOT is still reporting a number of partially covered highways across the area. And folks in McDonald County dealing with still some covered highways. So slow down, give yourself plenty of time. All right, alert day today. 11 for the high, partly cloudy, breezy with wind chills 20 to 30 below. And as we head into tonight, winds die down a little bit, get down to 1 below under partly, or sorry, 1 above under partly cloudy skies. 20 Christmas Eve, 25 Christmas Day, 32 Monday, maybe a wintry mix, 44 Tuesday, maybe some showers Wednesday at 53, and by Thursday, look at that, up to 62 degrees, and we're watching the chance of scattered thunderstorms. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:27. Both Kansas and Missouri have declared states of emergency because of the extreme cold. In Missouri, Governor Mike Parson signed an executive order preparing state resources and National Guard members to be deployed if needed. And an executive order from Kansas Governor Laura Kelly temporarily relaxes some motor carrier rules and regulations to speed up assistance. Road conditions varied widely across southeast Kansas and Pittsburgh. We saw some drivers struggling with streets that were snow-packed and slick. On 69 highway, drivers seemed to have an easier time, but authorities caution drivers need to slow down and leave plenty of room to stop because you can find slick spots anywhere, and the conditions are continually changing.
It started out pretty minor. We've had some slide-offs, a few little minor accidents. Lately we've had some crashes that have come out that are getting a little more serious in nature as the roads have started to get worse.
Trooper Reddy says to stay off roads if at all possible, and if you are on the roads and go into the ditch, stay in your vehicle buckled up. Eastbound traffic on the interstate closed east of Lebanon in Laclede County when multiple semis were involved in a series of crashes around 2 Thursday afternoon. Up to 30 vehicles were involved. And in Lawrence County, Missouri, a tractor trailer overturned, blocking both eastbound lanes. Traffic was rerouted for a time near exit 38. Well, a once-in-a-generation winter storm is plunging much of the country into frigid temperatures. Heavy snow and strong winds created chaos in the Midwest, with the Northeast bracing for Friday's impact. Already, thousands of flights have been canceled or delayed, disrupting travel plans just 2 days before Christmas. Jared Hill has more.
Pre-holiday headaches as a historic winter storm bears down on much of the country. Frigid temperatures in Texas led to power outages, leaving some residents in the dark on the coldest day of the season so far.
I'm really glad that I have a fireplace because otherwise I'd be freezing right now.
Heavy snow and wind squalls blasted through the Midwest, causing many shoppers in Indiana to make a mad dash to the stores for last-minute groceries and propane tanks to keep warm.
It's always the first snow that freaks people out.
The icy conditions have wreaked havoc on Christmas travel plans for the millions who are hitting the roads.
Like even in the areas that have been plowed really well, if you get above 40 miles an hour, you start sliding around.
And also those hitting the skies, with more than 12,000 flights canceled or delayed Thursday, according to FlightAware. Chicago's O'Hare Airport was one of the hardest hit.
I have this insane itinerary now. It's been a little nerve-wracking.
AAA estimates that as many as 7 million Americans will crowd into the nation's airports this holiday season, but they can expect flight disruptions to continue as the storm moves eastward. Even after the storm passes, the severe cold freezing throughout much of the country could slow down the airline's recovery plans for days. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Total flight cancellations within, into, or out of the United States today have already surpassed the total for all of yesterday. And that's according to FlightAware. They currently stand around 3,000. As for that quick freeze, temperatures have been plummeting as much as 50 degrees in some areas.
Yeah, we've seen that here too. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, this morning we're discussing coping with the holidays.
It is the season to be jolly, but while the holidays are supposed to be festive, professional counselors say it can also be a time of elevated stress as the pressures of throwing the perfect event, gift giving, and more sink in.
Controlling the stress starts by managing your expectations. But what if you also have social anxiety or difficulty striking up conversation with certain family members? Have a planned idea of what you're going to talk about with people you haven't seen? Pick things you feel comfortable with. And most importantly, stick to your boundaries.
And the holidays can also trigger grief. Now, whether you've lost someone around this time of year or not, you can really start to miss them if there's certain traditions you did together around the holidays. That brings us to our question for you this morning. Are the holidays a hard time for you? So far, 56% of you say that they can be difficult, and 44% of you say they're not that bad. You can vote through our website, through our app, and of course take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. So we're still dealing with the cold. We've been upwards of 40 to 50 degrees colder now than we were, now just over 24 hours ago, because this is right when those temperatures began to plummet. I-44 and Rangeline, the MoDOT camera there. We are still looking at some snow on the roadways, and checking to see. Yeah, these lights, they've been in a flash mode all morning, and they still are, so you need to make sure you're stopping. Unfortunately, if anybody from MoDOT or maybe even Highway Patrol, JPD are listening, there's been a number of vehicles just running right through these flashing red lights, and as traffic picks up, that could cause some accident concerns. So be careful if you're driving out there, because not just that, we've also got the snow on the road still. Across the region, we saw anywhere from about 1 to 5 inches of snow. Varied widely across the region, but everybody got a little bit of something out of this system. Skywatch Storm Tracker is quiet, except for this. We got the wind chill warning, Kansas and Oklahoma side until 1 o'clock today, and the Missouri side, that runs until 6 this evening. In Joplin right now, as you can see, we got some pretty sunny skies out there. 3 below, feels like 22 below. West-northwest wind at about 13 miles an hour. Across the region, still dangerously cold. We're 3 below in Lamar, Carthage, 2 in Miami, Chetopa, Parsons, and 3 below in Pittsburgh as well. Down to 4 below in Iola right now. And you factor in the wind, Iola feels like 24 below. Same in Fort Scott, Nevada, and Lamar. 19 Pittsburgh, 17 Columbus, 15 Miami. Feels like 23 below in Neosho. KDOT still reporting some partially covered roadways over a large portion of southeast Kansas. So if you're traveling this morning, give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. Slow down, take it easy, because partially covered is actually just as hazardous as a covered roadway, because you may run into a patch that's pretty clear, and then all of a sudden, here comes an icy patch or a snowy patch that you could lose control on. So just be careful. And we're seeing the same thing on the Missouri side. And as you can see, though, some changes, some improvements. We're looking at I-49 is clear now all the way through McDonald County. I-44 as well up through Springfield. But we still have some of the side highways that are still listed as partially covered. So still give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. All right, alert day today for those wind chill warnings. Wind chills again 20, 30 below zero even into the afternoon, 11 degrees and partly cloudy. And as we head into tonight, we're going to drop back down to a low of 1 under partly cloudy skies, but at least the wind will let up just a little bit. We're going to be right back with Shannon Becker's Big 3 Stories of the Week when we come back.
Welcome back. It's Friday, and that means it's time to hear from Shannon Becker again in the Big 3 Stories of the Week. I imagine something on this list has to do with weather.
Oh, yeah. Just about everything almost, right?
Right?
And we've been in this for a couple of days now, and it's going to last, I guess, until tomorrow. Chris Mortensen, he's got more coming up. Let's take a look at the Big 3 this week. This was a series of 3 crashes yesterday that really paralyzed I-44. This is actually in Laclede County is what we're seeing here. 30 vehicles all together. This story was really broken out big. From what I understand, only one person suffered serious injuries and was transported to a hospital there in Lebanon, Mercy Hospital. More details, KOAM News Now. Our number 2 story. This was a feel-good one on Saturday. You've heard of the Wreaths Across America. They've done it for years, but this is the first time Joplin Webb City has had an official event. CFI brought the wreaths. About 1,100 graves were decorated with the help of JROTC from Webb City. Patriot riders were there, a lot of veterans. It was a huge crowd, about 300 people, and it was cold that day. So
warmer than today, though.
Oh, yeah. So congratulations, great job to the organizers. Of course, Travis Boyd there at Mount Hope Cemetery. Our number 1 story, North Highway 43, Carl Junction Fire Department and Oronogo Fire Department both responded late Saturday evening. I was there as they said a vehicle had gone off the approach to the Ruby Jack Trail overpass. And it was an SUV had gone off-road and had overturned numerous times, ejecting the driver who was not wearing a seatbelt, and it was pronounced deceased at the scene. That's Our awesome. Bonus story of the week. This one feels good. It was a lot of fun. It was cold outside this day, but it was a lot of fun. It warmed your heart. It was Moving Mountains Pictures with the Grinch at Gringo's in Joplin. They do this every year. Moving Mountains is an organization in the Diamond School District that helps underprivileged kids with backpacks.
There, that's my favorite picture.
Yeah, look at her.
Yes.
She's terrified. I love that little onesie and stuff too, or whatever, the little footed pajamas.
I wonder how she does taking pictures with Santa.
I don't know. Maybe she's a little bit better with that now. You know, the Grinch, he's not the friendliest of types. Moving Mountains, they're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, been around since 2012. They help with lunch, snack packs, buy shoes for kids, you know, just to help other kids feel like a normal kid. Maybe you could kind of say level the playing field.
You know, it'd be fun if someone hosted a Pictures with Krampus session.
Krampus? Oh my gosh. I thought, now that's really bad, isn't it? I don't know. You have to ask Anton LaVey and the Satanic Church about Krampus.
No, we would just have like teenagers, or like, and he can hand out bags of coal.
Like back in
No, you bring gifts to him, and it's a donation drive.
Oh, for Krampus?
He takes your gifts. Yeah.
I thought he would burn them on the altar or something like that.
Because he's the one that goes in and steals the gifts from behind the tree.
Oh, I got to read up on my history of badness. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, if you're not good before Christmas, kids, then after Santa delivers those gifts, Krampus might come get them.
Krampus?
Yeah,
oh
that's how that works.
I'm reading the wrong books, obviously. I got to read the books that you read that make you happy.
Well, Shannon, it's been a delight having you in here this year. I guess we'll have you next Friday, too.
I'll be here.
Yeah, one more time this year.
As long as Krampus doesn't take me away.
Have you been good?
I don't know.
Well, you are a gift to us, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas.
All right, you too. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Oh, we still have an alert day for us today for those dangerously cold wind chills. We have wind chill warnings, Kansas and Oklahoma through 1 o'clock today. And on the Missouri side, they're going to run through 6 this evening. And that is because we'll see those wind chills still 20 to 30 below zero today. We are 3 below in Joplin right now, feeling like 22 below with a west-northwest breeze at 13. Getting a little bit of sunshine out there, though, this morning. We'll see more of that today. 2 below Miami, Chetopa, Parsons, 3 Pittsburgh, 4 in Iola, 4 below Nevada, 3 Carthage, Lamar, and 4 below in Monette. You factor in the wind, feels like 25 below in Iola, and this isn't going to really improve through the day either. Feels like 20 below Chanute, 16 Columbus, 14 Miami, and 23 below in Carthage. KDOT still reporting some partially covered highways across a good portion of southeast Kansas, so please slow down, give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going, leave plenty of stopping distance, because we're at that point with partially covered where you could hit a dry patch and think, okay, we're good. You get up to speed, and then you run into an icy patch or a snowy patch, and you can lose control very quickly. Missouri starting to improve a little bit. Still a number of partially covered roadways in Missouri, but I-49 all the way down to the state line and I-44 heading into Springfield are both listed as clear this morning. Right now, or for today rather, 11 degrees for the high, windy conditions, wind chills again 20, 30 below, partly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy tonight, the wind lets up a little bit. We drop back down to 1 for the low. 7-day forecast, 20 on Christmas Eve, 25 on Christmas, partly cloudy both days. A wintry mix possible Monday, 32, 44 Tuesday, maybe some showers Wednesday, up to 53. And then Thursday, boy, that's the icing on the cake, 62 degrees, but we are watching some scattered thunderstorm chances. We are done with the forecast. We're going to go to Tanya Bach for Consumer Watch.
Some major car companies about their supply chains after a British report found that some car parts were made in an area of China where forced labor is rampant. The Senate Finance Committee sent letters requesting more information from 8 automakers, including Ford, General Motors, and Tesla. GM has already issued a statement saying its policies prohibit involuntary labor and it actively monitors its supply chain. The U.S. bans most imports from the Chinese region in question. An important recall this morning involving children's weighted blankets. Target is recalling 204,000 Pillow Fort brand blankets after 2 children suffocated. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the children died after reportedly becoming trapped inside the cover, which unzips. The blankets were sold in stores and online from December 2018 through September 2022. Samsung is recalling more than 600,000 top-loading washing machines over concerns they could short circuit and overheat, posing a fire hazard. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says owners should immediately stop use of the machines until the software is updated. They're washing machines that were bought from June of 2021 through December of 2022. More information on specific recalled model numbers and software updates can be found on Samsung's and the CPSC's website. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Well, for a brief moment, 3 dominatrixes ruled at a public meeting. Where else? In Florida. And they did it in full regalia.
Jeannie Moose reports.
Guy in the shorts better get out of the way. Dominatrix coming through to take the mic at a Fort Lauderdale City Commission meeting.
Good evening, council peoples. You may call me Mistress.
Wearing an outfit that everyone kept comparing to Daft Punk. There was no way not to lose yourself to Mistress as she brought up the contract for solid waste management.
That you will spend almost $1 million.
Of course, that got compared to Dr. Evil.
$1 million.
Mistress proposed they spend a quarter of that million to support dominants and submissives.
To build a dungeon.
And in that dungeon,
I look forward to spanking each and every single one of you.
The commission members were unfazed. Dare we say submissive?
And happy holidays to you.
City manager, are there any districts that have a dungeon?
Not that I know of.
We wanted to know more about the mistress who gave her name as Ms. Trey Crave. So how do you find a dominatrix disguised in latex?
Hi, is this the South Florida dungeon rental? Do you by any chance know a dominatrix by the name of Trey Crave?
Not offhand, I don't. Thank you for calling Fetish Factory, your ultimate source for everything fetish.
Eventually, our informants led us to a club called Crave X Miami, where they don't answer, "How may I help you?"
How may I spank you?
How may you spank me?
Some in the fetish community said Mistress Crave is giving them all a bad name. But Crave told CNN anyone who says that requires firm and forceful punishment. While promoting a club, she did manage to create some spanking new headlines. Ginny Mose, CNN.
You are dismissed.
New York.
Okay, thank you.
What was that about? I've covered many Joplin City Council meetings, and I don't think that's ever happened. And I've called many people for stories, and I don't think I've ever had anybody answer the phone, "How may I spank you?" I probably would have hung up if that happened. I feel for Jeannie Moose. That's got to be some of the most interesting phone calls she had to make.
Expecting a response like that, though.
Oh,
so,
my gosh.
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
Good job, Jeannie. Good
well,
job.
Hey, these cold temperatures are going to spank all of us.
Oh, no.
No, it's true. It is dangerously cold out there right now.
They did dominate the 4 states yesterday.
The temperatures continue to dominate today as well. Here's the thing. We still got some snow, patchy snow out there on some of the roadways. The diverging diamond on the north end, I can't turn this camera, it's not ours, I can't turn it south, but this one's been in flash mode all morning. I've seen a number of vehicles run right through this red light here, and as traffic picks up, I'm concerned that we're going to have some crashes, so hopefully somebody from MoDOT's on their way, unless that's them there, or maybe somebody from JPD's out there to keep an eye on this, because somebody's going to get hurt if they don't get this corrected before traffic really picks up. In terms of snowfall, we saw anywhere from 1 to 5 inches across the area, all of us getting in on some of that snowfall. We do have the wind chill warnings, Kansas, Oklahoma through 1 o'clock today, and on the Missouri side through 6 o'clock, and that's because we're going to see wind chills again today, 20 to 30 below zero. It is 3 below in Joplin right now, feeling like 22 below with a west-northwest breeze at 13. Across the area, it's still dangerously cold, -3 Pittsburgh, Lamar, and Carthage, 4 below in Iola, 5 in Fort Scott, and 2 in Miami. You factor in the wind, feels like 25 below in Iola, 24 Fort Scott, 14 below in Miami. So a very dangerously cold start to the day. KDOT still reporting a number of partially covered highways in southeast Kansas. So if you're traveling, give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. Same situation in Missouri, but we're starting to see improvements. I-49, I-44 both showing as clear this morning, but still some covered roads out there. Heading for a high of 11, dangerously cold wind chills, 20 to 30 below, partly cloudy and windy. And as we head into tonight, we are partly cloudy, less windy, but still cold, down to 1 for our low. We're back with more right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The House January 6th committee late Thursday released its final report on the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. More than 800-page report says then President Donald Trump criminally engaged in a multi-part conspiracy to overturn the lawful results of the 2020 presidential election. In addition, the report says he failed to act to stop his supporters from attacking the Capitol. Millions of Americans are grappling with a brutal winter storm that's hitting dozens of states coast to coast with heavy snow, winds, and rain. Flights in many major cities were canceled or delayed Thursday, stoking concern about travel disruptions over the Christmas weekend. And the Senate passed a massive $1.7 trillion spending bill. It finances the federal agencies through September and provides more military and economic aid to Ukraine. Next, it goes to the House for a final vote before it will be sent to President Biden to be signed into law.
We do have an alert day for us again today as we're dealing with wind chill warnings. Kansas and Oklahoma, they're going to run until about 1 o'clock this afternoon. And on the Missouri side, they run through 6 this evening. And we'll have wind chills 20 to 30 below through the afternoon as we'll stay breezy today. But we will see some more sunshine, partly cloudy skies, 11 for the high. Tonight, the wind will start to calm down a bit and we'll drop back down to a low of 1 under partly cloudy skies. And the 7-day forecast, boy, it gets interesting. 20 for Christmas Eve, 25 for Christmas Day, partly cloudy both days. Maybe a wintry mix Monday, 32, 44 and partly cloudy on Tuesday. See where this is going? 53 on Wednesday, maybe some scattered showers. By Thursday, we're watching the chance of some scattered thunderstorms as we head for a high of 62. And as we look ahead to the New Year's Eve weekend, we get a little cooler, back down to the 50s. We got 60 on Friday with some thunderstorms, maybe some showers Saturday and Sunday. 56 Saturday, 52 by next Sunday. So much warmer weather, abnormally warm weather, mind you, is on the way, but we've just got to get through today and into the first part of next week to get there.
All right.
So yeah, just very.
If we can get past this weekend, I think that'll be the best part.
That is. And a quick reminder, Kansas and Missouri both still reporting partially covered roadways and highways in the area. Slow down, give yourself plenty of time to stop, because with it being partially covered, you may hit a dry patch, as we've been talking about, and then you're up to speed going, okay, we're clear. And then all of a sudden, here's a snow patch, and you could lose control very easily. So still play it safe today.
And we're keeping an updated list where you can find road conditions, links to those, and a list of warming centers and any other weather resources, KOAMnewsnow.com/weather.
You can find all of that right there for you. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better Christmas weekend.